Hi, this is Dr. Ilana Stockman of Linus Books and Media. I have a question to ask you. Do you think of yourself as a good writer? If you answered yes, congratulations, you made it. If you answered something else, like, I'm not sure, maybe, I don't know, or no way. And if you're a woman, you are in the majority. Most women have a very hard time saying these kinds of things about ourselves. Even women writers who've been published and have great accomplishments and achievements, great accolades, often still struggle with the words, I am a great writer. It reminds me of an interview I once saw with Cher on Late Night, where she said, I'm not a real singer. Celine Dion, she's a real singer. You see what she did there? It's that whole comparison thing. We are trained into comparing ourselves to others all the time. And that's not so helpful because there's always going to be someone who seems better than us, at least by external measures. They've published more, they've achieved more, they have more followers than us on Facebook and Twitter. Comparing is a risky business, but we're so trained in that from the time, in first grade where we're graded and we're put in line. And, our school systems very often do this, on a regular basis, the nonstop comparing. And so we're trained to think, oh, am I good like that person or good like that person? Carol Dweck, the author, researcher, TED talker, she has some very wise ideas about this. She talks about, and I'm sure some of you are familiar with her, she talks about the difference between the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. The fixed mindset basically says you are either a thing or you're not a thing. You are either a great swimmer or a not great swimmer. You are either great at math or not great at math. And that fixed mindset has a lot of negative impacts on us. It actually inhibits growth. Even when people are told that they're good at a thing, when it comes from a place of that fixed mindset, it makes us freeze up. It inhibits, it makes us nervous and, compare, wait, what did I, as opposed to the growth mindset. Growth mindset basically assumes that we're all in a learning process. We're never just a thing. We're always in the process of changing and growing and learning. And when people are spoken to in that way, instead of being told you are good in math or you are a great writer, they're given descriptions like, wow, that writing made me think of something. It made me wonder about that tree standing outside or whatever it is. When we're spoken to in a growth mindset, we embrace the learning process and we understand that nobody is a thing or not a thing, that we're all in this process. So a lot of times when we're asking ourselves that question, am I a good writer? It's coming from that fixed mindset. And it causes us to freeze up and not express our creativity. As opposed to when we drop that question altogether and we engage with the actual content of what it is that we're trying to create, the words and the sentences and the ideas that we're trying to birth into the world. When we engage on that level and stop asking ourselves, am I good or not good? Then we're able to really bring forth our creative juices in a way that has impact. I think that the whole question of, am I a good writer, also ignores some very real aspects of writing, which is that, what does it even mean to be a good writer? Something that I might like, you might not like. Does that mean that the author that we're reading is a good author or not a good author? The answer is it's not about them, it's about our experience. I can experience writing in a particular way, and somebody else can experience writing in another way. And how we experience that writing is what we're going for, not the voice of judgment. That voice of judgment, good or not good, it ruins that whole interaction with the writing. So for instance, like John Grisham, for example, when I was younger, I loved John Grisham, right? He was my go-to, trashy books that I just went to, and this is what I'm going to be reading. As I got a little older, I started to experience his writing a little differently. I started to not enjoy, for example, some of the ways he describes women, and my mind changed about it. My eyes changed about it. So I started to experience him differently. Do I think of him as a good writer or a bad writer? That's not so relevant. Some people enjoy his writing. I once enjoyed his writing. Today, not so much. I evolved too. My writing has also evolved. Some things that I wrote 20 years ago, I might like less than what I write today. I might even disagree with stuff I wrote 20 years ago. And other people also reading my writing. Sometimes somebody might, enjoy an essay that I have and not enjoy a different essay that I've written. These things it's very subjective. Our experiences with art and with writing are subjective experiences. They're not authoritative that way. They're not fixed. They're not fixed experiences. In fact, there probably is no such thing as a good writer because there is no writing that appeals to everyone. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. And you can also ask another question, like what are people saying when they say you're a good writer? Are they looking at your description, your language? Are they looking at your characters, your arc? Are they looking for something new? Or are they looking for something validating? Is good writing writing that takes me to a new place, or good writing that helps me understand where I already am? You don't know. Everybody will have a different definition of what it means to a good writer because it's up to the reader how they experience you. And that really is the point. The point is to stop asking ourselves whether or not we're good writers, but rather ask ourselves whether we have something that we want to birth into the world that we would like to engage with others about. So for instance, sometimes I'll get feedback like, oh, really, I didn't agree with anything you wrote, but you're a great writer. And I sort of find that meaningless, to tell you the truth. I don't really want to be told that I'm a good writer. I want you to engage with what I have to say. If you're not going to engage with me, sometimes I'll get feedback also, somebody who doesn't want to tell me that they disagree with everything that I wrote. They'll just say, oh yeah, that was very good writing. And I'm like, I don't want you to tell me that it's good writing. I want you to engage with my content, So those words, oh, you're a good writer, you're not a good writer, they're meaningless. Much more helpful is to engage with content, is to engage with the human experience, to say, when I read this is what I thought or felt or experienced. This writing made me rethink, my upbringing in Brooklyn, New York, for example. That is effective writing. It's impactful writing. That's something that I might aspire to. That when I write this particular essay or this particular book, I want it to be impactful. I want somebody to read it and say, oh, this helps me think about this, or it helps me revisit this. That is what I'm aiming for. So instead of getting stuck on that fixed idea, am I a good writer or not a good writer, I recommend you to just release it from your brain, release it from your consciousness. It's not relevant. The only question you should be asking yourself is, do I have something that I want to say to the world? Do I have something that I want to create and birth out into the world with which I could engage with other human beings about in a positive way, and something that brings positive thoughts and energies and ideas into the human existence? That's the only question. Do I have something to say? If you have something to say, don't ask yourself if you're a writer or not. Just do it. Just get it out there. That's my recommendation to you. I would love to hear what you think about this. If you have thoughts or ideas, responses, as I said, my goal is to engage. My goal is for my writing and my thoughts to engage. So send me a message. You can send a comment below, or you can email me privately, Ilana, E-L-A-N-A, @linusbooks.com, or you can look for me on Facebook. I'm there a lot. You can also sign up for my newsletter at www.linusbooks.com, or if you like this, subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, please share. Thank you.